more life. They gave me a trumpet to play in the orchestra. It got dusty. I just wanted to catch grass snakes and find birds' nests, to be quite honest with you. So I didn't fit in. Okay, I had some neurological differences as well, which might have exacerbated the problem. But we know full well that kids that have focused interests in anything, particularly if it's outside something which is accessible to most of those other kids, are vulnerable to bullying. And the bullying doesn't have to be brutal. It's not necessarily punching. It's not necessarily unkind words these days on social media. It's just that little partial exclusion. It's that not being involved in conversations, which basically over a period of time, a period of attrition, knocks that young person back. They are not part of the gang. They feel that they don't fit in. They begin to feel undervalued. They start to blame themselves. It's their fault that they're different. I was different. I didn't know why I was different, but that became a real issue. And again, what we see is that the young people that build bridges to get through these problems are the strong ones, the energised ones, the ones that get support, parental, school, whatever it happens to be. Again, I think that we've come some way in terms of celebrating the geek and the nerd, but we need to address that. And certainly in the education system, we need to make sure that if there are these people who we can identify with any focused interest, doesn't have to be natural history, we support them through that education system. We feed it rather than allow it to be damaged by social pressures, peer pressures. It's really, really tough. Then we get to later stages in education. They may perhaps through secondary school, they go into their A-levels and into university. Again, I work with universities now to try and sculpt environments and atmospheres where people who are not neurotypicals, perhaps on the autistic spectrum, can actually function optimally in those environments. And that's, again, what this is taking place in their teenage years. It's the most difficult part of your life. I don't know about you, whatever problems you've had in your life, none of them are mine compared to the turmoil that I faced in those teenage years. It was personal, it was hormonal, it was social, political. It's that time when all of a sudden you wake up to the world around you. They're waking up to a world on fire. This is a really tough time to be a teenager. We didn't have social media. Okay, I got a smack in the mouth from Eddie Jensen every time I spotted him. He spotted me in the corridor. But do you know what? It didn't probably hurt as much as being unfriended by 500 people on bloody Facebook. So their world is a really tough place to be. It's up to us to build support systems for them. And selfishly, we in this room are interested in building a support system which is going to get them into science, because that's where they need to be, basically, in order to be able to progress their careers and play a functional role there. So again, I think this is something that requires investigation. How do we practically, how do we manifest these things? What infrastructure do we put in place in classrooms, in universities, to make sure that we offer these people support so that they understand that their focused interest is an asset, not a burden. They should be celebrated. And again, Andy and others do a great job of doing this. They run their camps. I do whatever I can. I was out the other night. Finley Prindle's a young guy. He's 12 years old. He's a bloke that called Bear Grylls I don't know what he called him. I probably shouldn't repeat it. But what he said was true. And he's saying it. From my point of view, the Bird Fair this year, I get an hour. Tim Appleton very kindly gives Ruth Peacey, who's here today, he gives us 2 an hour on the Saturday. Our pleasure is to give our hour away to people who are doing greater and better things than we can in the field of conservation. And who have we given it to most frequently in the last few years? Young people. And we stepped off the stage this year and gave Holly Gillibrand and her band of climate activists the stage. And I tell you, there were probably 5, 6, I don't know how many people squeezed themselves into that sweaty Bird Fair tent, but most of them at the end of it could barely hold a dry eye. The power that these people have, these young people have, the raw, it's not naive, it's formed, their raw energy, the purity of their voice is something that we, I hate to say it in a controlled way, we need to harness. It's a strength for us. And again, we've not done that in the past. Perhaps we haven't had that